What is up, guys? It's your boy, One More Sleep Until the Witch Queen, Kackis here, and today we're going to be showcasing 5 exotic weapons that I would highly recommend trying out when the Witch Queen drops. And I'm making this video because I was literally having this conversation with my teammates last night, and I realized that I have a different perspective compared to a lot of people out there, because all of the weapons we're going to be showcasing today are going to be primary exotic weapons. And that's because, as you can see, primary exotics are getting a 40% damage buff starting in the Witch Queen against red bar enemies. So there's a lot of excitement around these weapons. A lot of people are considering, oh, I'll bring in this primary exotic to help me beat, the legendary Witch Queen campaign because it's going to be juiced to the gills with a 40% damage buff. However, I do think a lot of people are prioritizing some of the wrong things when it comes to these exotic primaries. Here's a great example, the GRAVITON Lance. Everyone is hyped about this weapon because, well, as you can see, get a headshot and it absolutely chains between enemies and can devastate an entire group of red bars. But here's the thing, guys. It's already doing that. In base level content, and you're seeing this, it devastates red bar enemies. What's an extra 40% gonna do? And you might say, well, obviously, Rickolas, it's about the end game content. Now it's gonna be able to do this in a Nightfall, in a raid, etc. And you would be absolutely correct. However, if you are going into higher level content where you need a 40% damage buff to deal with red bars, that content has a lot more yellow bars. And you can see here, when I am faced with a yellow bar servitor, the GRAVITON Lance does literally nothing. Its exotic perk doesn't trigger. It's basically a normal pulse rifle, but it's a 2-round burst, and that's it. So what I'm looking for is exotic primaries that can deal with red bars, but are also better than normal against yellow bars. And the best example is number 5 on our list, and that's the OUTBREAK Perfected. Now, this actually should be higher on the list. I just put it first because it illustrates my point exactly. So this has intrinsic abilities that will let it create a SIVA spread of nanites when you get a headshot kill on a red bar, and those nanites will go out and seek nearby red bars. So you can see it, I get 1 kill and you can potentially get, 2 more, 3 more kills because of those nanites. But then when I encounter that same yellow bar, not only am I doing damage to it with this weapon, but you can see it's also spawning nanites that will go and hit that yellow bar I'm shooting at to do even more damage. And I'm actually going to fast forward here. This is me dealing with the final boss of this lost sector, and you'll see more and more nanites spawn, and so the damage output of this primary weapon against yellow bars, against mini bosses, heck, against champions is going to be significantly greater than a normal legendary pulse rifle, or heck, even an exotic pulse rifle. Again, that GRAVITON Lance shooting that boss would do nothing. Its exotic perk would never trigger, whereas the OUTBREAK Perfected, that exotic perk is triggering all the time. So again, this is a perfect example of an exotic primary that if you do take this into the legendary campaign in the Witch Queen, that 40% damage buff is going to mean it's spreading its nanites like crazy, and those nanites also will likely get a 40% damage buff, so you are decimating red bars now. But if you do encounter a major, if you do encounter a yellow bar, you're not screwed, right? You can still use your primary weapon if you've run out of ammo for your other stuff and do a ton of damage. And so this is the kind of exotic weapon I'm really looking at. And moving on to number 4, we have the TARRABAHO. Now, this has the exotic perk Ravenous Beast, where as you get kills, you're going to slowly store energy. And as you take damage, that effect will trigger as well. So you will see when I'm in combat, the weapon will start to glow more and more and more red. And then you're going to see a notification on the left corner of your screen that Ravenous Beast is active. You hold reload, the whole weapon glows. As you can see, it then just turns into an absolute monster. The rate of fire and the damage are both increased substantially, and you can see what I can do to red bars. Like, one magazine can completely melt these yellow bar wizards like they're nothing. Now, of course, this isn't going to be as easy to activate as the Outbreak Perfected. However, because Ravenous Beast gives you the choice in when to activate it, you can use the normal weapon, right, to kill all the red bars, especially with a 40% damage buff. It's a 720 with decent stats. You really don't need Ravenous Beast to kill most red bars. If there's a huge group of them, or there's a little bit more powerful red bars like servitors, knights, whatever, of course you can activate it and just absolutely destroy them, and you'll see me do that in the background gameplay. But what you're going to be able to do is just use the normal mode for red bars, and then when you do see a yellow bar, switch to Ravenous Beast and just go to town. Remember also that if you are damaging, heck, even like a mini boss, as you're doing damage with Ravenous Beast, it's actually going to extend the duration, making it even better for taking down more powerful enemies. And so that's why this finds itself on the list. Moving on from there, let's talk about weapon number 3. This is actually going to be the Huckleberry submachine gun. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult to specifically use against yellow bars than the TARRABAHO, because I can't choose when to activate the damage bonuses, but holy crap does this thing get a lot of damage bonuses. So it's got Ride the Bull, which is going to increase the rate of fire and recoil when you're holding down the trigger. Also, kills will reload the entire magazine if you have a catalyst. So every kill completely refills the magazine. Absolutely insane. And it's got pre-nerfed Rampage, which means Rampage on a normal legendary weapon will give you about a 30% damage bonus when you're at ×3. With the Huckleberry, it's like 66%. So that is a huge difference, and that means what you can do is, as you can see, absolutely decimate ads. Any single red bar you see is going to be absolutely obliterated. 66% damage bonus. Oh, and it reloads the magazine every single kill. Like, there's not a red bar you can't deal with this thing. It's insane. But then what you can easily do is, after you're done killing red bars, turn the gun on the yellow bar. And yes, the damage bonuses are going to eventually run out, but if you just go from red bar, turn, and start shooting a yellow bar, you're going to have that 66% damage bonus and a completely full magazine. So you're going to be able to get a ton of initial DPS off on that target. And I feel like a weapon like this that has all of its bonus based in damage is going to be a little bit better than something like the Sunshot, where you kind of have to hope the red bar enemies are standing right near the yellow bar, and then you can get some, splash damage on the yellow bar and damage them over time. That's not really consistent, whereas the Huckleberry, it's a lot easier to just go red bar, red bar, red bar, red bar, empty a whole magazine into a yellow bar and do a ton of damage. But moving on from there, guys, weapon number 2 is the Malfeasance exotic hand cannon. So at a base level, this is a 180 rounds per minute hand cannon, and generally that isn't considered that good because it doesn't do enough damage. Now it's going to be doing 40% more, so you're now going to have that 180 archetype that's basically going to be one-shotting almost every red bar, and it has an insane 20 round magazine and maxed out stability. So against those normal red bars, it's going to be fantastic. However, its exotic ability makes it so that it implants spikes in enemies, and after a few shots on the same enemy, all of those spikes explode, dealing extra damage, and you will see that a ton in the background gameplay, right? And that extra damage is actually substantial because this weapon actually got a 50% damage buff to these explosions just now with Season of the Lost. So you can actually see, like, when those explosions go off in these yellow bars, it really chunks them, and that is exactly what I'm looking for with an exotic primary. So this is, again, a great idea to bring into harder content, because when you do encounter those yellow bar, those harder enemies, this weapon's exotic perk is going to make it so that you are doing way more damage than really any other legendary and potentially even exotic hand cannon out there. And it's especially nuts that the magazine is so high. You're going to be able to trigger that cluster of explosions like 2 to 3 times within one magazine on one single enemy. So you can get a lot of damage out really, really fast. But moving on from there, guys, the last weapon on the list here, it's got to be the RISKRUNNER exotic submachine gun, guys. Holy crap! This thing is insane. In fact, it was already insane. I remember using the RISKRUNNER in the Fallen Saber Grandmaster Nightfall. last time Overload SMGs were a thing. And by the way, Overload SMGs are coming back in the Witch Queen, so that's already a huge point for this weapon. But not only are you going to get 50% damage resistance against incoming arc damage, so it increases your survivability, and you know, Hive Wizards do arc. In fact, the Lucian Brood Hive Wizard is literally an arc Stormcaller Warlock, so being able to reduce that by 50% is going to be insane. But also, when you trigger that Arc Conductor perk, not only is it going to spread electrical damage in between enemies, so it's absolutely disgusting for taking out red bars, and now all of that is going to be 40% more disgusting, but it's also constantly refilling the magazine, so you never have to reload, you just hold down on the trigger. But also, when you have Arc Conductor active, your normal shots will just do more damage. So when you are pointing this weapon at a yellow bar, it is going to be juiced to the gills, and again, just constantly refilling the magazine so you never have to reload. The damage output is substantial. Again, substantial enough that when I was using it in Grandmaster Nightfalls, I would just trigger Arc Conductor, point it at that Overload champion, and just non-stop shoot, and you would see that health go down pretty darn fast. Again, especially for a darn Grandmaster Nightfall. Like, you could easily take out an Overload champion with this thing. And so guys, that's it for the 5 exotic primaries I would highly recommend trying out within the Witch Queen. I think these are going to be absolutely fantastic moving forward because of this buff. These were all on the cusp of already being fantastic. I think the buff is going to push them over the edge. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.